Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, everyone. Where are my people? Happy Sunday. Where is... Hi, Barbara. Janet, where are you? I got you, Barbara. No, I'm not drinking a 40. It's water. Just in case you guys were like, what is she doing? Is it that kind of Sunday? No, it's just water. All right, I'm waiting for a few more people to get on, but I wanna I have a little presentation for you guys to kind of guide you through what it looks like to relocate to Florida if you need to sell a house, your different options, right? So I know that has been a really popular topic, so I wanted to cover that. Who else is on? I only have 6 people right now. What's going on? Where is all my YouTube fam? How was everybody's week? You want to show them the steak? Hold on, they can't see. Wait, let me... Hold on. Victor wants to show you his masterpiece. There you go, baby.
Look at that.
We having steak tonight for dinner. Where is everybody? Hi, Theo. I'm just waiting for more people. I have a little presentation to go over on what it looks like, your different options on relocating to the Central Florida area. What are people doing today? Let me blur this background again. I hope everyone has had a great week, ready for the week. We're meal prepping, getting ready for dinner. How was everyone's week? All right. I am going to start my presentation, and whoever comes in, comes in. All right. So let me share my screen. All right. So relocating, what to know if you need to sell to buy, right? Because I know a lot of people have asked me, okay, what do we need to do? And I just want to make sure that you guys are covered, okay? So options, solutions, and strategies that work. So if you're thinking about relocating, whether it be job transfer opportunity, family considerations, lifestyle upgrade, the big question is, do I need to sell before I buy, right? Not only these options, you're ready to, let's say, retire, right? Enjoy that sunshine state living. So of course, like whether you have a new job opportunity, you're in the military, you have PCS orders, remote work flexibility, which I have a lot of clients who are who work from home and they could live wherever, and they decide Florida is where they want to be. Family needs, closer to relatives, better school districts, growing household, right? Or lifestyle shifts, retirement plans, downsizing, empty nest, lower cost of living compared to other places, or just tired of basically that hustle and bustle, right? So let's talk about a few different options. So sell first, then buy, right? So you could sell your house first and then you buy it, right? But that has pros and cons to it, okay? So pros is you have the clear budget certainty, you know what your household, you know what money you have in the bank, right? You do have a strong buying position, but honestly, in this market, we're in a buyer's market regardless, right? And there is less financial pressure. The cons could be that you need temporary housing, right? Where are you gonna stay? Do you need to rent somewhere? Does that you just want to rent for maybe 2 or 3 months to kind of figure out where you're gonna buy, right? You got to get a place that offers short-term rental. You're gonna have the double move required, right? You have to move from the house that you just sold, and then you're going to have to move again from wherever you're renting, or unless you put it in storage, right? And storage costs. So there's some smart solutions to this though. Sometimes when you're going to sell first, you can do a lease back where you stay in the house for, let's say, 2 weeks until you are under contract with the next house. You could find the short-term rental or stay with family, right? I know we don't all like to stay with family, but maybe that's just necessary. Hi, Pedro. Hi, Janet. Option 2, buy first, then sell, right? But of course, these are all options that will only work based on your financial situation, right? Because you may have to sell, right? But this one, buy first, then sell, you may not be able to get approved for a second loan. So you might have to, there's another option that we'll talk about. But if you can buy first, then sell, that's very, very, I feel like that's the most ideal situation, right? Because you don't have you don't have kind of like that rush, but you have to be confident enough to make sure that you are able to afford both mortgages, right? So Buy first, then sell. You purchase your new home, move in without a rush, relocate at your pace, no temporary housing needed, sell previous home, and then financial solutions, right? So you can do, for example, you can do a HELOC. So you can take a HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit, out of your home that you need to sell, and then use that as a down payment for your home that you're going to buy. There are bridge loans, which basically means is that you're bridging a loan, so you're selling your house and then you're gonna buy, but bridge loans are very messy. They can be very messy and have some high interest rates. So that's you I would prefer you talk to a lender to see if that's the best route to go. And then there are buy before sell programs, right? So buy first then sell, that's your option number 2. All right. So option number 3 is what a lot of people do, is simultaneous close, which basically means is that you're closing on the same day. You're closing on the home in the morning that you're selling, and then you're closing maybe in the afternoon for the home that you're buying. A lot of people do this, okay? So as I mentioned, same day closing, perfect timing transition. This is you, man, this takes some really great coordination, right? Because it's sometimes it just gets messy. There's a lot of moving pieces. So if I'm your real estate agent and I'm helping you buy here and you're selling in New York, right? Either number one, I can give you contact information to one of my partner agents that can help you sell the home. We'll be in communication, so that I know what's going on. If there's any delays in the New York closing, it's going to delay the Florida closing, right? So it's very important that I'm connected with your real estate agent that's helping you sell your house in wherever you live, right? So okay, so purchase new home, one move, no temporary housing. Again, agent coordinate. I'm getting ahead of myself. Agent coordination, expert management of both transactions, or if you live in Florida and I sell your house, then I just sell your house and then I help you buy it, right? So I'm handling everything. Sell current home, coordinate closing date with purchase. So basically is like, what if you're in New York, then you deal with law firms, right? Attorneys. So the attorneys have to speak with the title companies here in Florida because we are a title state. So the attorney from New York, I'm just using New York as an example, they are going to send the funds from closing over to the title company here in Florida. All right. So hold on, let me make sure I want to, okay. So let me tell you a little bit about this. This is, like I said, this is the most popular option, of simultaneous close. It does get like tricky because again, one wrong thing, it's going to delay the closing over here in Florida, right? Like let's say something happens with the one in New York, then that delays us over here. But that's where communication is very important. And what happens is that here in Florida, you're going to do it's called a contingency, right? So you're buying a home here contingent upon the sale of your house in New York, okay? So for whatever reason, if that house doesn't sell, then and you can't buy this home here in Florida, then you'll get your deposit back, right? Can you check on those potatoes? So what gets in the way with that? All right. Emotional overwhelm, right? Stress of major life change. It could be very, very overwhelming. Financial uncertainty, fear of overlap or gap in housing, logistics challenges, out of state coordination. Like, okay, are you hiring a company? Are you doing the pods, right? So things like that. Low inventory markets, finding the right home in the new area. Well, we don't have any right now. We're not in low inventory. As I've mentioned previously, we are in a buyer's market. So strategic solutions to win, right? Start early. Begin your search within 3 to 6 months for moving. Work with relocation specialist agents, right? A lot of agents are specialized in helping our clients relocate from another city, another state, right? Even another country. As I mentioned before, you have the flexible terms, or you can consider new construction, right? So let's talk about new construction real quick. When it comes to new construction, if you're doing a to be built, so you're building from the ground up, it's going to give you more time to be able to sell your house. For example, I have clients that are building a house through Kalesa Township, right? So they have to sell their house in order to buy this new one, but they're building from the ground up. So their house didn't need to be on the market right away. So that kind of gives you some time to play, but your agent has to be strategic as well, right? Because we have to see what's the average days on market, right? You have to price the house accordingly, because if not, the house is going to sit. If the house sits, then you are in jeopardy of losing your new house, right? So also when it comes to new construction, if you want to do a simultaneous close for a move-in ready home, builders will only accept that contingency if your house is already listed on the market and it's under contract. There's not a builder who will go under contract with you if your house is not under, if the house you're selling is not under contract yet. So how it worked for one family: listed current home. I'm drinking water. I'm gonna have to stop her. So sold within. This is just an example, right? Sold within 2 weeks to 45-day lease back. Connected with a partner agent. Found perfect home in target location. Secured new property. Used proceeds from sale for down payment. Single plan move. No temporary housing or storage needed, right? So I hope that this kind of helped. I am working on a relocation guide and checklist to kind of give you guys just some basic tips and things like that, right? Because it can get very, very stressful. So again, a lot of people do the simultaneous close. Hold on, how do I stop sharing? So that's how it looks if you need to relocate from another, if you're relocating to Florida and you need to sell your house in order to buy. Now, another thing that you could do if you're thinking about like retiring in a few years and you want to purchase the house now, you could use it as a second, this home here as a second home, right? And you're putting minimum 10% down. So that's something to think about as well, right? Because what happens here also, what I want to mention when it comes to moving, right? So let's say you're moving from New York to Florida, and you're gonna sell your house, you're gonna use those proceeds, but you still need a finance. You have to have a job already, right? Like that's another piece to relocating here, right? If you could transfer your jobs, perfect, right? You don't even have to worry about that. But I've had quite a few calls this past week where they want to relocate, they have a house to sell, they want to relocate to Florida. However, they don't have jobs lined up here and they still need a finance. So there's just no way that a bank is going to give you a loan based on just your down payment, right? You have to have a job here. So as I mentioned previously, when you are buying a house and let's say you're transferring jobs, no, you're going to start a new job, you can get a loan based off a job offer letter, right? So the job offer letter has to be specific though. It has to make sure that it says that it's full time, the hours that you're working, the rate of pay, when you start, right? So this job offer letter cannot be contingent upon it can't be contingent upon a drug test or anything like that. Like it has to have your job, right? It has to be your job. Hold on. Hi, Pedro. I am feeling better. Thank you so much, Janet. Hi, Billy. Chris said, the way I am doing it is I am pre-approved to buy a home. If my house doesn't sell right away, plus plenty of capital money for the down payment, when my house sells, I pay off the loan. Yeah, you can do that as well. There's so many different options. Ooh, that looks good. There's so many different options. Hi, Sally. So there, like I said, there's so many different options in relocating. The main one that a lot, just put it on the just put it there. No, on the glass, or put it on top of that pan. Yeah, that one. So the main one is the simultaneous close, right? That's a lot of people do that one, and it can be very, 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 very stressful, very stressful. But it happens. It happens every day, right? JP said, "Is it a good idea to purchase a house with a home equity line on your current house?" I mean, yeah, like I don't see why it would be an issue, right? If you have a home equity line of credit, you could take the home equity line of credit, but you still, that's still you having to, the only way that's going to work is if you can afford 2 mortgages. That's the only way it's going to work, right? A lot of people take a home equity line of credit on their house if they're gonna do an investment property, right? If they want to buy an investment property, they take a home equity line of credit out on their primary residence if they have enough equity in their house. So that's one thing to think about as well. Sally said, "We're finally going to Melbourne this Saturday." Wow, are you going to the beach? What are you doing? Hi, Karen. So that's very, that's kind of like, I know a lot of people had that question as far as how does it look to relocate to Florida? What does it look like to like loan wise, right? But the biggest thing, so for example, I have another client who called me and they were like, hey, he thought that he was only, and this is why I say it's always best to talk to a lender, right? Because you think you know, but you really don't, right? So my clients called me and they were like, oh, well, we want to go to Calessa Township. There was like 360 max, right? And we probably have to sell our home in order to buy, right? When he talked to the lender, long and behold, number one, he was approved for way more than that, and he doesn't have to sell. So it's up to him, but it gives him that peace of mind, like, okay, well, I can sell and then buy, right? And then he's okay, or he can, I mean, he can sell it or he can rent it out, right? So that's where they're at now, to see if they want to sell it or rent it out. So I hope that was good information for you guys, just to kind of have an idea of it, right? You have to, like, even if you, and that's a big thing, even if you sell your house and you have the money for the down payment and the closing costs, you still have, and you're gonna finance, you still have to have a job, like a job here, right? So if you are if you need to sell to buy, or if you can afford to have both mortgages, right? But the lender is going to be able to tell you that stuff. So talking about Calessa Township actually had, JP said, excellent information, really appreciate it. Yeah, I know, thank you so much. I really wanted to just provide value, and again, a lot of I've had a lot of people ask that same question, so I figured let me go ahead and give you that information. But just giving you some updates. So Calessa Township is opening up their new phase. Is called Perlina Groves, and a lot of people are super excited about that. I actually have clients who I'm meeting next week, and we're gonna go check out Calessa Township. Now, I want to make sure that I'm super clear, because I say it in all of my videos, but just again, especially with Calessa Township, like, I literally have to be the one to register you as my client, that I'm calling ahead of time before you go to the community, because if not, they are giving me an issue. For example, I've actually had a lot of examples, but the recent one is that they literally just went this past Saturday, not this Saturday, but the Saturday before, because I spoke to them last week, and they just wanted to, feel it out, and they put on the card, the registration card, that they have a real estate agent, right? Which annoys me that Calessa Township is doing this, but because I didn't call or I didn't register them, now they're giving us like a kick, like pushback, that I was supposed to call and all this other stuff. So I have no control over that, and I just ask that if you want to work with me, please, 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 do not go to the communities without me. Let me know ahead of time. If I can't make it, I could register you. I'll try my best to make it, right? So please, please, please. Sally said we want to see what's out there for us. We don't want no type of loans. We will sell our house and buy in cash. Okay, that's a great position to be in. We're moving. Okay, should I do the Zoom while in Florida? I would do Zoom before Florida, right? Because if you want me to be with you and things like that, yeah, I would have to know ahead of time, unless you're like, okay, well, I want you to be my realtor. I don't really need you. I'm in the exploratory phase, but can you register me with the builders? Then I can do that as well, right? Barbara said, we're moving to Florida from New York when my husband retires in November. Woohoo! What do we need to show the lender in terms of his income and pension? You'll get like a pension letter as far as what that is gonna look like, what is his benefits off of that, and that should be fine. That's a blessing. I actually have another client who called me this week. I had a conversation with them on Friday, and they live in New York, and her husband is retired from FDNY. And so they're gonna come this way. A lot of people are tired of New York and the cold, and they just want to enjoy the Sunshine State. Karen said, I'm retired, so my income comes from my pension, and by the time I'm ready to relocate, I'll have my Social Security. Hopefully, will I be able to buy a home with financing? Absolutely. Yeah. So that is considered how do I say, a source of income, right? Like whether you're retired, Social Security, disability, right? But everything has to make sense as well, right? Because like, let's say you get, just as an example, $5,000. Oh, give me 1 second, guys. I'm trying to make cauliflower potato, like regular potato, mashed potato. I don't even know how to say it, but babe, can you check on the cauliflower for me, please? Is it done? Can you drain it? So drain it and then put it back on the stove, because you know how cauliflower just has excess water. So let's say you your benefit is $5,000 a month, right? They still take into consideration your debt to income. It's okay. You could just use that one, pa. Yeah. Don't dirty another one. Debt to income ratio, right? So that's always, it's just a source of income, so it's gonna be applied the same way. JP said, what if we don't know what development and we'll be going to multiple? How do we do this? Would love to have you register each one again. We'll visit multiple communities, not sure which ones. Okay, let me read that again. Hold on. What if we don't know what development and we'll be going to multiple? How do we do this? Would you have to register each one again? We'll visit multiple communities, not sure which one. So, well, that's a great question. So one of my clients yesterday, because they were like, well, I'm gonna go check out this community today, right, in the morning. And I was like, well, I can't go because it's Saturday. I didn't have that in my schedule, and I already had something in the schedule with the kids, right? And you guys know the kids over everything, right, at the end of the day. So the builder was MI Homes, and as long as my clients, while they were there, they had a video call with me, so we FaceTimed, it was fine, right? They registered me, right? So if you have an idea, like JP, if you have an idea of the ones that you're gonna go to, like ahead of time, that would be easier. But like, let's say if they be like, oh, well, your agent needs to be here, or you can video call, right? Then we can just set that up. So that's what they did yesterday. They literally FaceTimed me, and the agent was like, okay, you're good. So yeah. So driving this week, I'm super excited on what's happening in Davenport, guys. I'm like ecstatic, and I think I'm gonna really go back to, well, when these communities are open, go back to really honing in on this area, the builders, the different floor plans and things. So I literally just saw, so there's this back road called FDC Grove, right? And it's in Davenport. And we've been seeing the progression of like the land being cleared, it being structured, right? It being the roads and all of that. So there's this one part where it's going to be another phase for Cascades. So Cascades is a community built by Lennar and D.R. Horton, right? But then there was this other area, and we're like, wow, I wonder which builder is going there. So we just seen a sign come up. So Stanley Martin is actually going in there. So they have a new community. Lennar has another community, but as I mentioned last week, Hovnanian is coming into Davenport too. So there's a lot of things happening here in Davenport, and I am here for it. Now, also on 27, right? So 27 is going to be the road that you take most likely to get to I-4 from Davenport, okay? On 27, so literally from these communities, you have the hospital 2 minutes away, literally, okay? You have a lot of doctor's office and things like that. But they're building a Starbucks now, which I'm super excited, even though I'm not on coffee. Yeah, I'm not on coffee for 3 months. I think I'm coming into week 3. So we're almost there, not halfway, but we're there. So there, okay. So Starbucks is coming, Chipotle is coming, McDonald's is coming, Wendy's is already there. What else? Bojangles, it's another fast food place. But we also have Home Depot is coming behind this. It's racetrack, right? I'm telling you guys, like, you know where this is. But so Home Depot is coming to the areas. We have Lowe's like literally 10 minutes away, but I guess we needed a Home Depot. I don't know. We're getting another Publix. What else? Oh, there's plans to either have a Walmart or a Sam's Club. I'm really hoping it's Sam's Club. I'm really hoping. I don't want a Walmart. I want Sam's Club. I like Sam's Club. So that's going to be just minutes away from these new communities. They're building like commercial office spaces. So they have like coffee. I saw a coffee shop, Anytime Fitness. There's also a gym called EOS, which I have heard it's a really good gym. They have different options and stuff. They're building that in Posner Park. And if you're new here, Posner Park is just basically where all the stores are, right? Yeah, that's Davenport, Kim. So in Posner Park, you have Panera Bread, you have Starbucks, you have Dick's Sporting Goods, Ulta, Target, JCPenney, Best Buy, Hobby Lobby, Burlington, First Watch, BJ's opened like 2 years ago. So that's where that's gonna be, that big gym. So I'm super excited. Lennar is building, I think, townhomes over there as well. So the area is just is continuing to grow, right? So I'm super excited I swear I'm going to be probably the first one to put those communities on my channel, because I'm going to really stay on top of just kind of the growth. They're also building another state park here. So there's just so much happening in Davenport. I'm so excited. And then Haines City is just next to Davenport. And I really truly believe that Haines City is going to be the next Davenport. And Haines City is getting a super Target. They're getting some hotels, right? So that growth is happening there as well. So I'm stoked about it. Tomorrow, okay, somebody said, Caddy said, how far is Davenport from Ocala? About an hour and a half on a good day. No, on a good day is like an hour and 15 minutes. Yeah, like an hour and 15. On a bad day, 2 hours. On a regular day, 2 hours is a really bad day. And then regular is it usually takes us about an hour and a half, because we live in Davenport, and we just travel to Ocala, because I mean, a lot of my clients buy in Ocala, so we just make the drive. I'm a passenger princess anyways, so it's okay. I don't mind it. Jeff said, hello, Alexis. I'll be retiring in November, and we are wanting to relocate from New York City. Okay. We'll be looking to purchase in a year. Davenport or Ocala? Which would you suggest? So it just depends, right? So Ocala is known for having larger pieces of land, right? So for example, Marion Oaks, which is very, there's no HOA. You have larger, at least a quarter acre. Houses are not on top of each other, and you have new construction, right, in all different price ranges depending on what you're looking for. Okay, now there are also communities in that in Ocala, right, like Calessa Township, DR Horton communities, Highland Home communities, right. So when you're in Ocala, it's going to take you, if you spend a lot of time in Orlando or you go to the parks and stuff like that, it's going to take you probably about an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and a half. A lot of people always ask, okay, what's the nearest airport? Honestly, it's going to be Orlando International, right? There is Gainesville, but I've heard that Gainesville prices, like their ticket prices, are very expensive to fly into Gainesville, and still that's about an hour away, right? So that's always something to consider. And then Davenport, right? So Davenport is a little bit more, I want to say a little bit more centrally located, but even still, like, we get traffic to go down to Orlando, right? On a good day, it'll take us about, well, not even a good day, like in the morning when there's no people out, it takes us about 35 minutes to get to the airport. If there's traffic, probably double that, about an hour, right? So I feel like both areas are still growing, but if you're looking at new construction when it comes to Davenport, it's going to be in a community, most likely. You're not going to have that much space as you would in Ocala, right? And it depends. The prices may be a little bit more expensive. It just honestly depends. So I think both areas are really great. And what I would say about, so Ocala, there's a lot of things happening, right? There's schools being built, elementary schools, high schools. Here in Davenport, I feel like we already have that established essentially. And we also have access to charter schools, okay? So charter schools are free. They're just on a different, it's a smaller, like, I feel like, entity of a public school. And they're still building more. We're gonna get oh my gosh, we're gonna, in Davenport, a new elementary, middle, and high school, right? So it just depends. I really recommend you to check out both areas to kind of see what you like. And yeah, Davenport, you have a lot of the touristy areas too, because a lot of Airbnbs. But in these communities over here, they don't allow short-term rental. Caddy said, we've been looking in Rolling Hills. Are there any other areas that have 1 acre plus lots to look in? I would say, so actually Marion Oaks does have sometimes they'll have an acre land. I'm going to show you guys one that I've showed you before, just so that you can kind of see. And that one's priced at $339. But yeah, you could check Beverly Hills. They tend to have larger lots like that, but it does have a HOA, lower HOA. Nonetheless, it's still HOA. So let me show you the one that I just kind of real quick so you can have an idea. Hold on. Just so that you can see. All right, so this is the MLS. And I want to show you guys, let me just put this one in. This one. So this is a 3-2, just under 2,000 square feet, and it is on 1 acre, okay? I've showed this to you guys. I went to record it, but when I went to record it, they had still mounds of sand in the front. It wasn't completely done, so I wasn't able to, I didn't want to record it. And the last time I checked, they were just waiting on electricity. So I hope to have this on my channel, just so that you guys can see. So what I like about this one is the room sizes are nice. It has a separate living, like a separate flex living space. It has a tub in the master bathroom, and the secondary bathroom is a pretty big bathroom as well. They do granite now, because that looks like laminate from here. They just haven't updated their photos, but I want it there. I like this. It comes with like this really big covered lanai. So that one's gonna be that one's gonna. Are you guys? Am I sharing? Yeah. Okay. So that one is yeah, that's kind of as an example. Hi, MNG. So, okay, so as I mentioned, we have we oversaturated our channel, so we're just doing one video a week for the next 3 weeks. So tomorrow we did Ocala. It's a brand new floor plan. It's a unique floor plan. It just gives me like the kitchen gives me like New York apartment type of thing, but it's not bad. It has a walk-in pantry. It's on a corner lot, and I like the location of the house because Marion Oaks is big, right? It's made up of 12 different neighborhoods. Some neighborhoods are in the like really deep rural area where it's not as developed, but this one was in, I want to say it was a neighborhood, and it doesn't, you think 12 it's deep. No, it's how it's positioned. I don't know, but I want to say this one was in unit 12, but you're literally 5 minutes away from Highway 200, right? So you're literally 5 minutes away from Walmart. You're closer, Hope, you're closer to that area, the stores and all that with this house. So it's on a corner. It's by a busy street, right? 484. But you honestly can't hear it inside of the house. It's block house, so it's very faint. But it's a really nice house that I thought it was different. So that's gonna be on my channel tomorrow. That one is priced at $314,500. So yeah, stay tuned for that one tomorrow. And then the following week we did Highland Homes. They have a new community in Ocala called Copper Leaf. So we went ahead and we toured their Summerlin 2 floor plan, which is a 4, 2.5, 3-car garage. So that's a nice one too. Guys, I just went to I was with clients this week, and we were in Ocala, and DR Horton has a floor plan. It's in Ocala Crossings community. It's called Ocala Crossing South. And this community, there's no CDD, low HOA of $100 per month. It does have a resort style pool and kind of like an area where you can go ahead and rent it out for parties, right? You're probably like 10-15 minutes away from Highway 200. Now, they had a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-story home. Okay. It had quartz countertops. It was a decent sized backyard, right? Considering it's in a community, and it was priced at $299,000 with a special interest rate, with closing costs. I was just amazed. It's a 2-story home, just under 2,000 square feet. I thought that would have been a perfect starter home, especially being under $300,000, and you're getting a special interest rate with down payment. With closing cost assistance. Sophia said, hi, is there a lot of back roads in Ocala, or is built like Orlando where you have to be on the highway to go anywhere? No, there's back roads, and there's a lot of back roads in Ocala. D said, DR Horton and Lennar have very bad reputations. That's unfortunate, especially with DR Horton. Like, I think what happens is because they're just such a mass production builder, right? They are like, especially DR Horton, I think they're like the #1 American builder, right? So they built so many homes, they have so many people, where yeah, there's some stuff that I have seen, have heard, right? I would personally say is that I bought a DR Horton home, and I don't have any major issues with it, right? I always say that a third-party inspection company is a must when you are buying a house, whether it's new construction, it's a resale home, doesn't matter, right? To basically just kind of assess the house prior to even signing any documents, right? The other builder, I personally, I don't advertise their builds, right? I don't like their customer service. I don't like they're very quick to be like, oh, well, you don't need an outside agent, we got you, type of thing, which that's not the case. I promise you that. I've had clients who closed on their home, and literally when we did the first walkthrough, there was blue and green tape. So when you do a first walkthrough, when it comes to new construction, you're meeting with the construction manager and you're putting blue tape for paint, like paint touch-ups, and then green tape for like drywall stuff, right? And I promise you, the entire house was filled with blue and green tape. When we went to the final walkthrough, those same blue and green tapes were everywhere. Nothing had gotten done. And they told my clients that if they do not close, that they are forfeiting their deposit, and they can take legal actions. They said as long as the house is habitable, they need to close on that property. It was an unfinished home. It was so unfair. So I don't advertise them, and yeah. But like I said, I have a DR Horton home and I don't have any major issues, right? Like, I feel like you do get what you pay for, in the sense, in like, so example, I paid 306 for my house. I had laminate countertops, I had rug everywhere, right? So it was a good deal for me and my family, and I knew that one day that I was just gonna go ahead and update it, which I did. Stella, it's actually DR Horton, their Darwin floor plan, which is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-story home. It has a little bit of a loft. And it had quartz countertops. It had I want to say, was it, I can't remember if it was, no, I don't think it was a covered lanai, but it was more of a bigger slab though. I can't remember if it was a covered lanai or not. But that one was for $299,000. I was amazed because they just had dropped the price. And so yeah, we have seen like some price reductions. The interest rates are going lower, right? So there's a lot of things happening. This is a good time to really get, if you want a new build, get those incentives, right? I was gonna say something else. Hold on. Okay, D said, but if those builders' homes are resales, can we assume by now that they're not going to fall apart? You know, I would I would say it's important to get the an inspection done, right? To make sure that all of the major parts of a home, the roof, the AC, the plumbing, right, the structural is sound. A lot of the structural warranties for a new construction are transferable. Normally it's about 10 years for a structural warranty, and they are transferable. So that's always something to look into. But like I said, unfortunately, they do get a bad rep. But I personally think it's because they build so many houses and have so many people that, yeah, it's not going to be 100%. But like I said, I think it's a great starter home. They do have some like more expensive, or I don't know, more higher priced homes in like the Winter Garden area where you could build from the ground up and things like that. For the most part, they are like spec home builders, where basically is like what you see is what you get. There's no modification. Stella is Ocala Crossing South. It's a DR Horton community. The HOA is $100 per month, no CDD, and it has a playground and a resort style pool. I thought it was a really great, really great option. JP said, are the Ocala new communities on septic, and do they have high-speed internet? That's a great question. So if you're in a community, you definitely have high-speed internet, and you are going to be on public sewage. So public water and public sewage. So that's why if people want to live in Ocala, but they don't want septic tank and they don't mind a community, then a community probably is a great option. Pedro said, hi, Alexis. Hi, Pedro. Do you think the new tariffs from the president will affect the real estate market? People are talking about the interest rate will decrease and will help the market. What do you think? I mean, that's what it does look like. So the interest rates are going down. So I think it's going to have a positive effect onto our market, right? Um, I had clients who are able to get below a 4% on a VA loan for new construction, right? So I do see where the interest rates are the lowest that they've been in a while right now. So again, but of course it all depends on your credit and all that stuff. But yeah, I definitely think that it's gonna the interest rates are going to go lower, but sometimes, so right now what's happening is just like it's a market correction, right? Where, oh my gosh, people have overpaid for those houses and during COVID times, and now it sucks, right? Because you're not gaining that equity that you thought that you were going to gain, right? Because you overpaid for your house. I've seen that a lot lately, where they bought in 2022 and they don't have much equity in their house, because what the homes are selling for now are kind of like around the same price that they paid for the house, or maybe just a little less. So then maybe they have $25,000 in equity, right? But a lot of people overpaid for their houses during COVID times. A lot of people, especially in the short-term rental community, a lot of people overpaid for their those houses. And so there's a lot of short-term rentals on the market, right? And it is not only because, number one, it depends on the community, right? It depends on the community with short-term rental. If it's oversaturated, right, then you're seeing lower daily nightly costs. But then if you lower your nightly cost too much and you have so many people in it, then you're increasing the wear and tear, right? So it just depends. It depends. Dee said, what name of the community you mentioned? Which one? So the one that had it for under 300,000 was Ocala Crossing South, DR Horton community. It's so funny. I was with I was with clients in Ocala, and in Ocala Crossing South, you have DR Horton and you have Adams Homes, right? So Adam Homes, we went to go tour some homes, and man, they were like, the sales agent was going so hard, like, okay, well, we have this and DR Horton doesn't have this and all this other stuff. I'm like, you need to relax a little bit. No HOA. So no HOA is going to be Marion Oaks. I mean, in Ocala, no HOA Marion Oaks. You do have Silver Springs the shores that doesn't have HOA. I personally have clients. I always, like, if people are interested in the shores, I tell them, go drive around, see if you like it. But a lot of people prefer Marion Oaks over the shores. But yeah, there's just so much happening in the areas. I'm super excited. What else do you guys kind of want to know, so that I can make sure that I'm providing as much value as I possibly can, right? So that's why I put together that relocation little slideshow. But also I've heard through the grapevines that Hometown Heroes is coming back, right? Somebody said they're now, and I don't know that they're now, because I haven't really seen much information if it's available now, but I've heard that it's supposed to come back in July, the beginning of July. If you guys don't know what Hometown Heroes is, it's a great program, especially if you need help with down payment, okay? I can't stress this enough. And once I have confirmation when Hometown Heroes is coming back, I'm going to make sure that I'm saying it in my videos, okay? I've had somebody who used Hometown Heroes and they only had to bring like $4 to the closing table, because I got all their closing costs paid and the down payment was covered. So Hometown Heroes gives you up to 5. Donna said July. Yeah, that's what somebody said now, and I'm like, I don't think it's now, because when I went on the website, it said fully reserved, and I reached out to one of my lender partners, and they said it's July, and I was like, okay, I think it's July. So Hometown Heroes, unless they, if they change anything, I'm just going based on what it was, how it worked in the past, okay? So Hometown Hero is they give you up to 5% of the loan amount, not to exceed $35,000, okay? Now, you can use that towards your down payment, okay? And then we negotiate to have your closing costs paid, at least most of it, all right? So that helps out literally. Sometimes you don't even have to bring anything to the table. Now, you have to be a first-time home buyer. You can have a co-signer, right? You have to have at least a 640 credit score. What else? You have to be working full time. The job has to have a location here in Florida, right? So, like, let's say if you work from home and your job is based in, I don't know, California, that doesn't count because it's only based in Florida. You have to work up to, I think it's 35 hours per week, so full time, and it's considered a second silent mortgage, right? So there's no interest rate on it. There's no interest on it on the second silent mortgage, right? Because you still have interest rate with your loan, but it's considered a second silent mortgage. There's no interest on that, right? So it only gets paid back when you sell the house, when you refinance, or if you're done paying the 30-year loan off, okay? So it's a really, really, really good option for down payment. Now, they do have their own interest rate, okay? Sometimes it tends to be just a little higher than what the market interest rate is, but honestly, if you need the down payment and you want to get a house, it may not be a bad option, as long as, of course, you can afford the mortgage payment, okay? So, guys, do not sleep on it. When I tell you, I have like really, really like told everybody about it in my videos when it was active. Now, another thing I would tell you is that they only give a certain amount of funds. They only have a certain amount of funds. So I think the last one was like 100 million, right? And you may think of 100 million, oh my God, that's a lot. No, it goes so fast. There's so many people. So if you are interested in Hometown Heroes, then you honestly, like, you need to be in contact with me, and you already have to have literally a house in mind, right? Or a few houses, so that we already know what you want to go under contract for, what house, because we want to secure those funds ASAP. So guys, Hometown Heroes, don't sleep on that. Sophia said, are there any amenities in Marion Oaks? So Marion Oaks actually does have a clubhouse, right? Okay, so Marion Oaks actually has a community center. So the community center, it has a library, it has a gym, it has kind of like a teen room with some like PlayStation. It has a like discovery room. It has computers. There's an auditorium. They have a basketball court. They have a splash pad. So you can have a membership to the community, which is very low. I think it's like $55 for the year, right? So you could have a membership if you want to use those amenities, right? D said best 55 plus with HOA that includes the most. That depends, because there are some really good 55 and over communities. A lot of them do have a CDD, and a lot of them do include like lawn maintenance. You don't have to worry about your lawn. They take care of your irrigation, right? And it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a community that it has a golf course, right, then that's something to consider. If you want a community that has a restaurant, there is so if we're talking, let's talk Ocala. So Ocala has a few different 55 and over communities. They have a new one called Cherrywood Preserve, which is no CDD, it's HOA. I think it's like $300 a month, not sure, don't quote me on that. But it has like, it's gonna have, I love 55 and over communities because they just have so much to offer, right? They have cooking classes and all that. I don't know specifically for Cherrywood. Anyway, that one is Casa Fresca. Then you have Ocala Preserve, which is an absolute freaking beautiful community, gated, guard gated, golf course community. Oh my gosh, several resort style pools, a restaurant, gym, all of that. But the thing about that one is that Shea Homes is the one who builds for 55 and over. You could buy a DR Horton home, but DR Horton sells to all ages. So it's kind of like it is 55, but then at the same time, there are all ages in that community as well, right? But it is advertised as a 55 and over. Then you have On Top of the World. You have Del Webb, Stone Creek, which I actually really like Stone Creek. Their HOA is only $300 a month, no CDD. You could build from the ground up, or you can take advantage of one of their move-in ready options. And they have all of that. They have the gym, the pools, the classes, and all that. Let me see. There's another one, Falls of Ocala, which is a Highland Home 55 and over community. I don't know much about that one. And then, oh my gosh, Orlando, there's so much. I have clients who bought in what is it called, Twin Lakes. So Jones Homes used to build in there, but Del Webb took over, and that's in St. Cloud, and that is one of my favorite 55 and over communities. Is freaking beautiful. Their clubhouse is like 10,000 square feet. They have cooking classes. They have like pool tournaments, poker tournaments. They have resort style pool. They have a lap pool, state of the art gym. Oh my gosh. They even have a dock where you can go sit down, or you can rent their pontoon boats. You could go kayaking, but if you're scared of the alligators, don't do that, please. So that's a gated community, absolutely beautiful. You could get a move-in ready home, or you can build from the ground up. And like I said, Del Webb took over, so they have some new floor plans, which I am not mad at. Thank you, Donna. Yeah. So July, it's most likely going to be July 1st for Hometown Heroes. So guys, I'm telling you, if this is something you need, it's a good option. Raphael said, how much are the taxes in Marion County for real estate, please? So it's also going to okay, so when it comes to taxes, and I always say this in my videos in Monarch School of Real Estate, okay? Taxes are going to depend on the area, the community, okay? So Marion Oaks, for example, they have a tax rate of 0.0168, right? So there's a formula you do so that you could get those taxes. Normally they're like maybe around, and this is just estimated, it depends on the purchase price too. It depends whether it's going to be your primary residence or not, because then you're going to file for what is called the Florida homestead tax exemption, which is a $50,000 discount, right? But normally what I've seen in Marion Oaks is about like $4,500 to $5,000, and I've seen that's on like the higher side. But again, every community has a different tax rate. Every different area has a community tax rate. So that's basically it. So I always try to, as you guys know, try to provide as much value as I can. So we always do Monarch School of Real Estate at the end of our videos. If you have not stayed tuned to that, I would definitely stay tuned, because you learn a lot, and especially have an idea of what those taxes are going to be. Stella said, is it possible to buy a home, negotiate with the seller builder to cover closing costs and down payment, not using Hometown Heroes? No, you cannot have, the down payment has to come from you. So, or you can have a down payment come from a gift from like a family member. But as far as down payment, no, because I've seen DR Horton where they were doing like a down payment assistance program, but you can't take advantage of like their interest rate, because any down payment assistance program is going to have their own interest rate tied to that loan, right? So no. D said, thank you. I will go back to this video and check them out. Pedro said, congratulations on the closing this last week. Huge houses. Yes. We closed it was almost $1 million. I'm going to round up. It was like 932,000. My Quintana family, they both retired from the Army, and they moved from Indiana to Mineola. They have a freaking beautiful house, over 4,000 square feet. I was super blessed to be able to help them. So yes, that one was a nice one. Hi James. So James, you're late to the game, but if you want to recash, I rewatched this video. I had a little presentation about what it looks like to relocate from a different area into the Central Florida. If you have a house to sell, what are some different options and things like that. So yeah, for anyone who is watching this video now and is just they didn't catch it at the beginning, that's basically what the beginning of the call was. So make sure you catch that because there's some really good information. All right, so if you guys don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this channel. Absolutely appreciate you guys. Tomorrow, don't forget 8 p.m. We're gonna have the house in Ocala on the channel. Very nice new floor plan in Marion Oaks, in Ocala, $314,500 on a corner lot. So that one's a nice house. It's a little quirky kitchen, but you'll see it. Guys, don't forget, please don't go to any new construction community without me. Please, please, please let me know ahead of time, especially Kalesa Township. I really I need to register you prior to you even if it's I just want to see what they have, let me know. And I want to register you if you want to use me as your real estate agent, right? Because if not, then that's okay. So yeah. Guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, if leave in the comments, I'll read the comments again if you want me to cover anything so that I have an idea of what you guys want to learn, what to know more about, so that I can provide as much value to you as I possibly can, because that is my mission. I hope you guys have a fantastic week.